biggest obstacle to living a life of purpose and joy is fear. Fear keeps people stuck in unhealthy patterns and prevents them from stretching beyond their comfort zone, creating a prison of limitation and misery. This video will give you the tools needed to understand and transcend fear. Part 1. What is fear? Fear is anticipation of pain caused by real or perceived threats. The word perceived is the key to understanding fear. In modern societies, we rarely face threats to survival, and yet fear is all-pervasive because we suffer from fears created by the mind. Fear imprisons human beings to the harmful states of inertia and strife. Inertia immobilizes, leading to the condition of being stuck. Strife, on the other hand, causes people to pursue the wrong things for the wrong reasons. For example, fear of poverty can fuel an insatiable need to accumulate. Though inertia and strife appear different on the surface, they are both rooted in fear and cause suffering. When we listen to the voice of fear, we choose security at the cost of growth. Instead of pursuing joy and our highest potential, we settle for survival, victimhood, abuse, power struggles, ego gratification, and meaningless pursuits. Under the spell of fear, we let mass conformity dictate our life, which suppresses our individuality and prevents us from making our unique contribution to creation. Fear poisons both the individual and the collective. At the level of collective consciousness, fear can control entire nations, thrusting them to engage in power struggles, mass control, propaganda, conflict, and war. On the journey to higher consciousness, fear is the biggest obstacle. If you are dedicated to living a meaningful life, it is imperative to understand and transcend fear. Part 2. How to transcend fear. The process of transcending fear has 3 steps. Understand fear, improve your belief system, and take action. 1. Understand fear. When we examine fear, we find that fear has a structure. Though fear appears in countless forms, all of those forms originate from 3 core fears. These are loss of self, loss of self-worth, loss of control. Let's examine each one of the 3 core fears. Loss of self, a primal fear that lies at the core of all fears. Loss of self is fueled by our survival instinct. This fear naturally arises in response to threats to our physical existence. These threats include death, old age, disease, injury, and losing loved ones. The fear of loss of self is instinctual and reinforced by genetic and tribal memory, originating from an identity rooted in our culture and society. Loss of self-worth. Similar to our need for survival, we have a core need to feel worthy. The threat of loss of self-worth creates fears that we are worthless, unlovable, undeserving, and inadequate. Studies show that the fear of not being loved is the biggest fear of women. In our modern society, the fear of loss of self-worth is continually reinforced by social conditioning. In fact, the machine of consumerism is powered by making our sense of self-worth dependent on transient things, such as our physical attractiveness, money, possessions, and social status. Loss of control. In our ego-driven society, people are led to believe that being in control is of utmost importance. The fear of loss of control includes the fear of change, powerlessness, helplessness, poverty, and risk. Studies show that the fear of poverty is the biggest fear of men. 2. Improve your belief system. Once we understand that fear has a structure, a closer examination shows that the structure stands on the foundation of a limiting belief system. In particular, each core fear is supported by a core belief. The fear of loss of self arises from the belief in destructibility. Fear of loss of self-worth arises from the belief in external validation of worth. Fear of loss of control arises from the belief in an unfriendly universe. What if we could get rid of these limiting beliefs? It is essential to understand that our beliefs are not objective truths. All of our beliefs have been acquired through the process of conditioning. Although beliefs may be reinforced by mass consensus or our life experiences, that does not make them true. On the journey to higher consciousness, we need to see our beliefs as tools. We need to question our beliefs and actively seek better beliefs. And whenever we find empowering beliefs, we need to discard disempowering ones. Going back to the 3 core beliefs that create the foundation of fear, there are also 3 counter beliefs that can set us free. These are all a part of the philosophy known as non-duality. According to non-duality, you are an aspect of the source energy that is on its journey of knowing itself as a timeless being. Your brief time on this planet, your incarnation, is meant to give you an opportunity for growth. A video on our website explains non-duality in detail. Non-duality provides a framework to replace faulty beliefs with empowering beliefs. In particular, it transforms our beliefs from destructibility to timelessness, from external worth to inherent worth, and from control to the flow of life. Let's dive into these 3 transformations. From destructibility to timelessness. What happens when we die? To answer that question, we have to understand our true nature. According to the research on reincarnation, we are not merely the body nor the mind. Our real essence is a timeless consciousness that is part of the source energy. It does not get destroyed at death, which is merely a transition, similar to waking up from a dream. From a higher perspective, an incarnation is a choice that helps us learn about our true nature through our choices and creations. As we learn through hundreds or even thousands of incarnations, we become masters of working with physical reality. From external worth to inherent worth. The belief in external worth is a social construct. Unfortunately, we are indoctrinated into it from an early age. Parents train us to conform to their ideas of being good. If we do what we are told, we are rewarded. If we don't, we are punished. The reinforcement of external worth continues through our school years, where our worth becomes tied to our grades or our ability to play sports. When we become adults, the narrative of external worth still controls us. It dictates that our worth depends on our ability to get a good education, find a good job, find an attractive mate, become professionally successful, and make money. In the belief system of external worth, the measure of our worth is dictated by institutions and our socioeconomic system. The counter-belief, the belief in our inherent worth, is independent of these artificial constructs. Since we are part of the source energy, we are inherently worthy, regardless of our possessions, qualifications, success, or social status. Believing in our inherent worth frees us from socially defined goals chosen by others. Instead, we can focus on what brings us joy and meaning. Paradoxically, by pursuing joy and being our authentic self, we also make our highest contribution to the creation. From control to the flow of life. The notion of control is an illusion, or rather, a lie, propagated through cultural conditioning. Much of humanity is a victim of this myth. As we observe all around us, people are clamoring for control by accumulating power and money. The need for control arises because people see the universe as an unfriendly and threatening place, which is an incorrect worldview. The counter-belief is that the universe is not a random accident, nor are we helpless victims. The universe is a wise teacher. It chooses every lesson that comes our way with care and with love. If we could listen to the gentle wisdom of life instead of clinging to control, we would learn these lessons with effortless joy. Before we incarnate into this reality, we make conscious choices about what lessons to learn and how to learn them. More information about this area of research, which is called pre-birth planning, is available on the Children of Infinity website. Practicing awareness and inquiry. How can you replace limiting beliefs and free yourself from fear? The path requires the active practice of examining our thoughts through awareness and inquiry. Here is how the process works. 1. Whenever you become aware of fear, ask yourself, what would I have to believe to be afraid? 2. This inquiry will uncover a limiting belief. 3. Once you find the limiting belief, replace it with the contrary, empowering belief. 4. Ask yourself, if I worked with a better belief system, how would that transform my fear? And in particular, what action would I take? This practice, when consistently repeated, can free your mind from the grip of fear. A resource that we highly recommend here is a seminar called Changing Core Beliefs by Bashar. The video is available for purchase from Bashar's online store. 3. Take action. The final step in the process of going beyond fear is action. Fear seeks to paralyze us, but there is a way out of paralysis that always works: action. Under the spell of fear, people create a horrific story of what would happen if they pursue what they want. This process is called catastrophizing. For example, you might feel stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill you. The moment you start thinking about a better job, catastrophizing leads you to believe that your current job is the only job you will ever find. Your skills are outdated. Nobody will ever hire you. If you told your partner about your intention to quit your job, your partner will leave you, and you will spend the rest of your life poor, without love, and miserable. It is fascinating how our minds can create prisons. The prospect of big and bold action often scares us. That is why we need to take small steps, called minimal viable actions, the smallest actions you can take to move in the direction of your goal. In the example about finding a better job, the step might be to research positions online that are available for your skill set, inquire about opportunities for adult learning in your community, and take some mock interviews. Such small steps will keep you moving in the direction of your purpose without raising the alarm. Exercise. Based on the last principle, let's do an exercise. Grab a pen and paper and make sure you're not disturbed for the next few minutes. Once you are ready, pause the video and write down the answers to the following questions. 1. What am I afraid will happen if I move toward my purpose? 2. What underlying belief causes this fear? What is the empowering belief that I can replace it with? 3. What are some small actions I can take to move in the right direction? 4. When will I take the first action? Once you have the next actions identified, put them in your calendar and commit to finishing them. We hope you use the tools given in this video to transcend fear and live a life of purpose and joy.